W.W. Law, we know, was a Savannah native. He was born here in 1923, and he witnessed a lot of injustice as a child, and he decided to make civil rights his life's passion. And he was also an historian. He studied history a lot, and he was a massive collector of documents and items. And we got in touch with Luciana Spraker, who is the director of the City Municipal Archives. And she said, y'all should come on over and check out his collection. And we went over there, and it was really overwhelming. There were so many documents to pour through and weed through. And we decided we wanted to narrow in and focus on his Negro Heritage Trail and how he put it together and why he put it together. And we quickly realized that, W.W. Law realized that knowledge of one's history and heritage is a form of empowerment. And that's why he wanted to put together this trail and teach landmark sites from the Black perspective. And there were 32 sites in all on the trail. He started in 1977, and he was a pioneer of heritage tourism here in Savannah. We realized that. So we had Luciana help us, kind of direct us on what documents would be perfect for us to show people how he pulled all this stuff together, how he pulled his information together, and more importantly, how he promoted the Heritage Trail, because it got national publicity. And it was very intriguing to see how Mr. Law would hand draw all of his pamphlets and his promotional materials. And then we would see the final product after the publisher had printed it out. And we've got some of those illustrated over here in part of the exhibit. And of course, we wanted people to know specifically what was on the trail and how he interpreted them. And what Mr. Law used when he was out on the trail, doing it for tourists and so forth, is he had his own hand-drawn notes that he would use to tell the history. And he had this very uniquely beautiful handwriting. And we have examples of it over here on his the desk that we have set up to simulate the kind of desk he would have had. So we used that to illustrate how he interpreted the trail. And again, just the primary focus being on those 32 sites, a lot of them traditional landmark sites that we normally associate with Savannah's history, but with a strong focus on the Black perspective, which he felt was very important because you cannot teach the history of Savannah without understanding how Black people have contributed to our history. I did a tour the other day with a family that were from France, and they were traveling all over the South to different locations and just absorbing the history. And they'd already learned a lot of history, but they were really fascinated to do the tour and learn about Savannah gray brick and learn about the cotton industry and how it flourished here in the South. And how I remember they were like shocked that one little simple development like the cotton gin had such a significant impact on history. And I explained to him that Eli Whitney really didn't make much money off the thing because it was so simple to make. People saw it in use and went home and made one, even though we patented it. But they were just fascinated by that whole concept. So there's a lot of like really unique, interesting details that we offer along this tour that people find fascinating, and they certainly found it fascinating. We look at Savannah on any given day and we see all the tourists that are here enjoying our history. His impact on heritage tourism is just absolutely monumental. And like I said, he was doing this in the 1970s before it was real popular. I grew up in Savannah in the 1970s and 1980s, and it was not at all like it is today. I think we have like 13, 14 million visitors a year, and they're coming here largely because of our history. And they're coming here largely because of our cultural resources and what they can learn from them. And like I said, W.W. Law was a pioneer in this field, and he was doing it long before there was a lot of money in it. And he was doing it not so much for the money, he was doing it because he wanted people to understand Black history in Savannah and its significant role.